the common definition of a reactive dog. A reactive dog is a dog that has a reaction that is inappropriately out of proportion to what would be expected in a situation. Now, here's how I think about it. A reactive dog is a highly intelligent, highly attuned, and extra sensitive dog who is confused, misunderstood, and because their earlier communications went unheard or unheeded, dismissed, their only way of expressing how they feel about what's happening is to shout it out with big emotional behaviors.
Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast.
Well, hello, Kathy Kowalik here, and I'm delighted that you're joining me today. So today I am posing the question, do you have a reactive dog? Let's go. All right, so first we need to define this. Like, what does it mean to have a reactive dog? What is the definition of a reactive dog? We want to define this so that we can get on the same page. Let me start with the industry-wide, the dog behavior industry. Let me start with the common definition of a reactive dog. A reactive dog is a dog that has a reaction that is inappropriately out of proportion to what would be expected in a situation. Now, here's how I define it, how I think about it. A reactive dog is a highly intelligent, highly attuned, and extra sensitive dog who is confused, misunderstood, and because their earlier communications went unheard or unheeded, dismissed, their only way of expressing how they feel about what's happening is to shout it out with big emotional behaviors. Yeah. So how are those big emotional behaviors commonly expressed like in everyday life? Well, we have things like lunging, barking on leash at anything and everything. Separation anxiety, social anxiety, environmental anxiety, obsessive approval seeking, obsessive any of these things. So obsessive chasing, hunting, resource guarding, obsessive leash pulling, stress barking, and then not coming, stealing, leaving their work, and refusing to cooperate in a consistent way. And so you've heard me say it about 1,000 times, maybe a million, maybe, I don't know, a lot of times. Behavior is communication. Since dogs can't talk it out, they act it out. All right, back to our common definition. What makes a dog, that the industry-wide common definition of a reactive dog? So what makes a dog's behavior inappropriately out of proportion? I air quoted that because that's, the quoting the standard definition. So what makes a dog's behavior inappropriately out of proportion? What does that mean? Who determines if it's inappropriate? Who determines if it's out of proportion? And then what about the next part of that sentence? Quoting, what would be expected in a situation. Let me just read it to you again, the whole thing. A reactive dog is a dog that has a reaction that is inappropriately out of proportion to what would be expected in a situation. Okay, so what would be expected in a situation? Who determines what's expected? And if that expectation is even close to reasonable or rational. Is this for all dogs? Of all ages, of all breeds and mixes, in any environment, with any history of trauma, with any genetic predisposition, with any and all types of nurturing? Is it a dog that was lovingly raised with litter mates and in a trauma-free environment with a kind doggy mom until they were 9 weeks old? Or is it a dog that was abandoned at 4 weeks old and hand raised by itself? Is it a dog that has a human dog mom with any level of experience, like a first time dog mom to a long time veteran dog mom? And is it true for dogs with any level of sensitivity? I mean, I found that the most intelligent dogs, the most attuned dogs, the dogs most likely to be our amazing, brilliant partners are also extra sensitive dogs. And so you see how easy it is for us to go so deeply wrong with a one-size-fits-all obedience training regimen with a goal to make our dog, all dogs, obey and behave pretty much the same. For all dogs to behave, quote, appropriately, in proportion, and exactly as expected, end quote. I mean, it's kind of crazy when we think about it that way, right? Now, what if we turn that around and we looked at this through the lens of compassion, kindness, and heart-led guidance to do our best to nurture this dog to reach their full and true potential, whatever that happens to be? I mean, when we consider that it is a human, like you, me, society, that decides what to make our dog's behavior mean, we can imagine that there is a lot of room for space and grace. So, what if we nurtured the dog that is right here in front of us instead of the dog we wish we had, or the dog that society tells us we're supposed to make? Which leads me to the next question. Why are some dogs reactive and others not? So here's a common scenario. I see it so many times. You've raised and trained the same breed of dog in the same way as your last dog, maybe your last 10 dogs, but this one, oh my gosh, it's a hot mess. And you go to sleep crying your eyes out at night, and then you wake up in the morning determined to do better. And then there you are crying your heart out again the next night. And pretty soon you dread the thought of starting yet another day of worry, stress, overwhelm, struggle with a dog who is turning out nothing like you dreamed about, no matter how hard you try. Oh, whew, it's hard. There is no doubt about it. And here's the thing, it can be so much easier when we shift our perspective about what is actually happening and then take steps to really, truly listen to our dog, this dog that needs us to be more aware of what's really going on under that big behavior. This dog that needs us to be more focused on building a trusting, cooperative relationship than on training them to be obedient. This dog that needs us to be their advocate and that needs us to provide clarity, connection, and loving leadership so that they learn what is normal for us, for our family, for our unique lifestyle. This dog that is unique, sensitive, attuned, and that wants nothing more than to please you. This is the dog that will help us to shift our perspective about what is happening so that we can take the steps that we need. This dog is your ticket to brilliant partnership. Why do I feel so confident about that? Because I feel very, very confident about that. It's because your dog, just like you, just like all of us humans, are social mammals. We are designed to thrive through connection. We learn from our culture and from our family all about what is normal and how we do things. And our dogs are the same. As a social animal, dogs thrive through connection. Now, that is a blessing and a curse, as the saying goes. This profound connection that we have with our dogs is the very thing that can pull us both into a reactivity spiral. Now, remember, behavior is communication, and how we respond in the moment to our dog's communicating behavior either dissipates the energy of that freak out, that big emotional behavior, or it strengthens and affirms it. Now, 2 more times of that, and it's a newly launched habituated response, which becomes embedded for both you and your dog and difficult to break free of. I mean, seriously, reactivity spiraling launches really fast. It does not take many times. So let me say this again. It's how we respond to our dog's big behavior that matters. It's not our dog's behavior itself. We are the ones that our dogs look to for information and guidance on how to navigate through our world together. And when we accept that responsibility, and when we respond to our dog's confusion and sensitivity and communication by staying regulated and by clearly guiding and role modeling how we respond, in other words, not with a do as I say, not as I do approach, that would be obedience and training, but instead with a follow my lead. You can trust me to make good choices that we both love approach. That's what we're talking about. Now, it's true that a chronic state of dysregulation is pretty common with us and our sensitive, misunderstood dogs. And this happens because the longer our dog's communication is unheard or dismissed or misunderstood, and the more we join up with them in their state of dysregulation, the more their behavior escalates into an over-the-top, over-aroused, mindless state. Yeah. And then the more that happens, the quicker and more often you and your dog's nervous systems switch into survival mode. Now, that big emotional behavior, that big outburst is habituated. Every molehill becomes a mountain. And let me be clear, this is an autonomic response, not a conscious choice. So at this point, there is no listening, no learning, no teaching, no logical thinking, right? Our defenses, you and your dogs, our defenses are driving our behavior. It's autonomic. In other words, our dog cannot calm down, cannot respond to known cues, cannot listen, cannot easily be taken away or moved away from the inciting trigger. Not because they are defiant, but because they truly cannot respond from their current survival mode in the moment. Now, the truth is, reactivity takes two to spiral out of control and become an embedded default autonomic response. And just as true, breaking free starts with us changing our behavior, not with our dogs. I hope that makes sense. All right. So I want to leave you with two things today. One, do not lose heart if you are already stuck in the reactivity spiral with your dog. You can turn things around. Absolutely. It does require your devotion and commitment to breaking free by stepping into your role as loving leader and taking full responsibility for becoming a brilliant partner for and with your dog. When you stop chasing reactivity fixes with dog training and behavior modification and instead use simple, sustainable, proven partnership method that I teach, you will break free of the reactive behavior spiral and launch your dream life with the dog you love. You can do it. I know you can. We have so much success with this, and you can do it too. All right. The second thing, I'd love to help you with that. So not only are you invited to enroll and join us in my all-inclusive coaching program, Relationship Rehab Intensive, where we were on a straight and narrow path to rehabbing reactivity and breaking free of the reactivity spiral for once and for all, for a lifetime. But if you're listening to this podcast this week when it was first broadcast, you can also join us in my free reactivity reset workshop that I'm doing this week, where I will guide you through the steps to get started right away. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's going to be a fun adventure, and I really hope you'll join us. So the link to sign up for the workshop is somewhere on this page where you're listening. It's on my website. It's on my social profile. So you should be able to find it pretty easy. And I hope to see you there. Let's get a big crowd going. Tell your friends. All right. So that's it for today. I'm looking forward to connecting with you next week on the podcast. And in the meantime, be brilliant. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.